Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr Boyce TV. Here we are.
I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And I'll let you guys get a chance to come into the conversation as we get started today. I'm really interested in this topic. This is something I really want to talk about really quick. I was thinking about this today. And it has to do with with sort of what it means to be Black and how there are individuals and entities out here that I believe are seeking to kind of repossess Blackness, almost like a bill collector or somebody, you know, repossessing an automobile. I feel like there are people that want to repossess Blackness and basically claim it as their own. And I really want to kind of provide a framework that allows all of us to really see just what that looks like and kind of how to think about this, just kind of how to process and analyze, you know, what you're seeing, not to the point where I'm telling you what to think or what to do. That is not my goal. My goal is not on any level to judge or to tell you, you know, I'm just not in the business of telling Black folks what to do. You know, here's the deal. I believe in freedom. I believe slavery ended in 1865. And I believe that all these people that, you know, are telling you what to do, who to vote for, you know, those are not your friends. I just don't believe that they're your friends. I believe that they, you know, they want to be your pimps. They want to tell you, that, you know, they want to control your lives. I don't believe in controlling your life. I do believe, for example, you know, I believe that you have the right as the leader of your household to say, you know, to say what you want, do what you want. I believe that you have the right as the head of your household to make the decision of what's best for your family. I think that my role at best is that of an advisor. An advisor means that I can give you advice. I can help you out. I can share a perspective that might be beneficial to you, but I'm not the guy who's supposed to be controlling the ship that is really your ship. Now, with that being said, let me kind of explain to you why I chose to go live. I want to talk about this Black woman out of Baltimore. Her name is Kim Klacik. And Kim is, you know, she's a Republican. I'm not a Republican. I'm not voting for either party in the next election. But, you know, I don't judge you if you're a Republican. I don't care about that type of stuff. And I watched her on The View. And I saw this Black woman go on The View and really get treated in a way that I thought was pretty bad. It's not that I have a problem with people disagreeing with what she believes. I think that we all have, you know, there are a few of us out here who believe, you know, in things like freedom of speech. I don't think that that's a popular idea anymore. I don't think that a lot of people believe in freedom of speech, but I do. And one of the things about freedom of speech is that means that I can't tell you what to say. I can't shut you down just because you disagree with me. I can't come to you and say, you know, you said something I don't like, so, you know, so I'm going to just tell you that you don't have a right to speak. I think that's absolutely insane. You know, and I think it's also, it's not that it's this is not a new phenomenon. I mean, this is a result of a type of social engineering that if you go back in time and you look at the way, you know, the way the left and the right have engaged with each other over the last 200, 300, 400 years, that's sort of what you've seen. So let me just show you this video. This is a sister named Kim Klacik. And Kim Klacik was on The View. And on this show, she got into this sparring match back and forth with Joy Behar. You know, she's one of those wiggle white women, kind of a Rachel Dolezal, I guess, type lady who thinks she's super down with Black people and everything else, but she ends up looking a little bit silly. and it got real ugly. The interview got real ugly. I'm gonna share this on my Instagram. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet. Hit the thumbs up, share, and subscribe button. And let me just show you this video. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins, and that's where it is. So I'm gonna play this right now. Hopefully you guys can hear it okay. Let me see. Let's wait, let me start over again here. Turn it up. Okay. There.
The community has my back as an homage.
Wait, hold on, let me start over again here. Let me hit this again.
I have to say something to you. He told Bob Woodward that it was a very serious issue and it's airborne and that it was terrible. And then he went out and told the American people, don't wear masks, it's all going to go away. You have to put some blame on your president. I'm sorry. You're putting it on something extraneous here. Talk to the point, please.
Is this Joy speaking? The same Joy? The same Joy that paraded around in blackface not too long ago? Come on, Joy, I don't think you should be asking these questions. I am.
Excuse me. The black community had my back. They know that that was not blackface. That was an homage. Oh, please.
The black community has my back.
The black community has your back? The black community has your back?
They do.
The black community did not vote for you. The black community did not vote for you. What
it was
planet
during
are
a
you
special
living
election.
on?
Sonny, can I speak?
What planet are you living on?
It was during a special election while we were still under lockdown and I could not talk to people. Can I speak or are you just going to speak over me?
Becomes a big... Listen, Kim, good luck to you. Thanks to Kim Class.
That was very immature, but thank you for having me.
I have to say something to you. He told Bob Woodward that it was a very...
Okay. Did you guys notice that? I mean, give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no in the chat. Do you think that that's an appropriate way to talk to somebody who's a guest on your show or somebody that you're having a debate with? Would you talk to a relative that way if that relative disagreed with you on a political issue? If they voted for somebody other than the person you voted for, would you feel, you know, that's the way you should address somebody? Go ahead and tell me what you think in the chat. I'm gonna send a little note so that other people on our tribe can know that we're live now. Yes or no? Give me a yes or no. I'm going to go with no. And the reason I go with no is because of this. Look, you know, one of the things that we're supposed to have in this country is, and this is what they criticize Donald Trump for. They criticize Donald Trump, and I'm not saying, I'm not a Trump fan, but they criticize Trump because they say he doesn't have civility. He's a savage. He's very rude. He's a bully. And I saw bullying in that clip, but I didn't see the bullying coming from the Republican. I saw the bullying coming from the liberal. The liberals who felt that this black woman has no right to talk unless this black woman is saying what the fuck we want her to say. If you can't say what we want you to say, then Negro, you have no right to talk. In case you're wondering, that's what racism looks like. That's what white supremacy looks like. That's what racial oppression looks like. Oppression, white supremacy, and racism are systematic entities that lead to black people being pushed into a position of subordination, where black people are muted, disbanded, pushed to the side, marginalized, if they don't fit in with the pre-existing narrative. Now, one of the myths that, that a lot of us grew up with is that we believe that the liberals are our friends. Now, I'm not going to say the conservatives are our friends because I see a lot of problems with conservative speech as well. We'll talk about that in a second. But we're led to believe that these liberal allies are our friends. And what it reminds me of is it reminds me when I was a kid and I had a friend and this friend, I thought he was my buddy. I thought that we were friends, but I noticed that every time we wanted to do something, we get on our bikes and I'd want to go, I'd want to go over to the basketball court. He'd say, no, let's go to the store. And I say, no, let's go to the basketball court. He's like, no, we're going to go to the store. So we went to the store. If I said, let's go eat a cheeseburger, he would say, no, I want to go get some chicken. So we would end up going to get chicken. If he wanted to go get chicken, I wanted to go get a cheeseburger, then I would be okay with going to get chicken. But if I insisted, let's say I insisted and said, no, actually, I really want a cheeseburger, he would get mad. He'd be like, well, then fine, go on and go get your cheeseburger then. I'll see you later. Right? Like really for that moment, he would only be my friend when I went along with his agenda. right? And then one day I just basically said, fuck you. I don't want to be your friend. If this is what friendship with you looks like, then I don't want to be that friend. I don't want to be your friend. A lot of y'all got friends like that. You ever have a friend where if they call you and they have a problem, then you sit on the phone with their ass for an hour and a half, listen to their stupid ass problem, trying to be a good friend, then you'll do that, right? But then when you call them and you have a problem, or you call them and you have something you want to talk about, or you call because you have something on your mind, they ain't got time to talk to you. They're like, well, I'll see you later. I got to go. Well, let me just tell you, that person ain't your friend. That person ain't your friend. You need new friends. And so when I think about our so-called friends that are out here, these people that are supposed to be our allies, right? I see people that are sort of like, whenever it comes to their shit, whenever it comes to their agenda, they got all the time in the world for you. Oh, we love black people. We want to see black people do well. Black lives matter, right? And they down for black, bliggity black all day long as you are in the same political party that they are, right? You're talking to a liberal, as long as you're a liberal, then being black is okay. They down with whatever, right? The minute you go off script, like, oh, what's wrong with you? Oh, you don't deserve to talk. Get out of here. Shut up. We're not doing that, right? Well, the same thing is true with the Republicans too, right? The conservatives, if you are a black conservative, then they're all black all the time. You would go to the White House and think you was up in the HBCU on some of those days when Trump would bring in all the black conservatives, and there'd be all these black people, in the White House at one time having a big party. But if you're a black liberal, then they're not messing with you, right? So what I think that this episode on The View kind of does is it allows you to get a better perspective on how racism works in America. The way racism works in America is that black people are seen in a way that says, look, your blackness is not as much of a factor in whether we like or dislike you as much as your political affiliation or whether or not you align with my agenda. Now, mind you, this does not make them into bad people one way or the other. This is life. This is life. You go through life, people are going to try to use you. They're going to try to get what they can out of you. They're going to spend time with you. They think they can benefit from spending time with you. In politics, you don't have any unconditional friends. You typically have friends that are your friends based on whatever situation you're in. What it speaks to, though, is that you as black people have to get hip to the game to understand that you can't let other people have a monopoly on your blackness, right? So let me explain like this. Do me a favor, first of all. Please hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up, share, and subscribe button if you haven't done it. And if you want to know why I sound a little bit different, it's because I'm in the middle of a long-term dental procedure. So, this is just the consequence of not taking care of your teeth when you're younger. So please don't make a bunch of comments about, asking about the teeth thing, because we got to stay focused here. You can talk about whatever you want, but it just it's a little bit immature, and it's not what we're here to talk about. But then again, the internet's not mature, so fuck it. All right, so anyway, here's the thing. If you listen to that interview, let me play this again. I'm gonna play it. It's on my Instagram. If you want,
I have to say something to you.
Hold on. It's my Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins, and I want to play this clip one more time so you can really hear it, and I want you to really process what's being said here, real quick. Here we go.
I have to say something to you. He told Bob Woodward that it was a very serious issue, and it's airborne, and that it was terrible. And then he went out and told the American people, don't wear masks, it's all going to go away. You have to put some blame on your president. I'm sorry. You're putting it on something extraneous here. Talk to the point, please.
Is this Joy speaking? The same Joy? The same Joy that paraded around in blackface not too long ago? Come on, Joy, I don't think you should be asking these questions. I am
Excuse me, the black community had my back. They know that was not blackface, that was an homage. Oh, please,
the black community has my back.
The black community has your back? The black community has your back?
They do.
The black community did not vote for you.
Well,
the black community did not vote for you. What
it was
planet
during
are
a
you
special
living
election.
on?
Sonny, can I speak?
What planet are you living on?
It was during a special election while we were still under lockdown, and I could not talk to people. Can I speak, or you just disagree with me?
Becomes a big. Listen, Kim, good luck to you. Thanks to Kim.
That was very immature, but thank you for having me.
Okay, so when you watch this rudeness that's occurring, this very savage, disrespectful, uncivilized behavior, What you're really seeing is you're seeing people engaging in a really clear and explicit version of white supremacy that most of you never really catch. Most of you can't catch white supremacy because you focus on dumb shit. Like, for example, the Proud Boys. If you go to my Instagram, The Real Boyce Watkins, the Proud Boys is this stupid little fringe group of a bunch of white guys that love to, drink beer and carry their guns, and they love the American flag. And somebody said, well, the Proud Boys, he wouldn't denounce the Proud Boys. And I said, okay, show me how many tens of thousands of black people did the Proud Boys execute last month? Show me how many tens of thousands of black people the Proud Boys killed last month. And then maybe we can talk. If you show me how many tens of thousands of black people were killed by the Proud Boys, then maybe we have a conversation, right? And you can't point to that. But then I say, okay, well, show me how many tens of thousands of black people that the Proud Boys and the KKK got together with last year and put into concentration camps. How many tens of thousands of black people did the KKK and the Proud Boys get together and put into concentration camps last year? I said, because I can show you tens of thousands of black people that were put in concentration camps called American prisons, the American penitentiary system. If you've ever been there and you know what guys and women go through when they go to prison, the rape, the torture, the abuse, the poisoning, all these other things, those are our American concentration camps. I can show you in the Biden crime bill, in the Joe Biden 1994 crime bill, where he did systematically exterminate tens of thousands of black people. I can show you that. It's not like speculation. It's not something that I just, am making up. It's not something you can't go verify for yourself. I mean, don't trust me. Go trust the facts. Go look up the facts. This man put billions of dollars into putting 100,000 race soldiers, Negro hunters, out in the streets to go fill up the penitentiary, to fill up the concentration camps at an epic, systematic scale, almost like the way you exterminate thousands of roaches and rats, right? So my point is to say, not to say that the Proud Boys are some wonderful group. I don't know nothing about, exactly what they're doing. I'm sure if they were killing tens of thousands of black people every month, we would hear about that. What I'm saying is that white supremacy, the reason you can't solve the equation of white supremacy, the reason you can't figure out how to deal with racism in America is because most white supremacy and racism that happens in this country occurs right under your nose, right under your nose. So as a black man who thinks a lot about white supremacy and what that means, for example, I figured out that most black people are white supremacists. White supremacy. What is white supremacy? White supremacy is the idea that white people are in some way superior to you, that their systems are better, that their ice is colder, that their neighborhoods are better, that their schools are better, that being around them is better, that their companies are better, that white people are just better than you, right? Well, most of us as black people are white supremacists. It ain't our fault. It ain't your fault. It's not our fault because we're indoctrinated into that ideology. We are raised to believe that that's the way the world's supposed to work. So what's the first thing you do when you have a newborn baby? You send your baby to white people to educate the child because you don't believe you can do it because you're a white supremacist. Then what's the next thing you do? Well, when your child gets 18 years old, you send them to a big white university that takes all your family wealth. Some of y'all still in debt. Some of y'all educated Negroes got all kinds of degrees and letters behind your name, still in debt. Not making fun of you. It's not your fault. It's just the system. That's what they train you to do. But you give all your family wealth so white people can educate you at a university, and that's because you feel like that's going to make you better. And then what do? Well, you get a job. Who do you work for? You go work for a white person, right? So when you go work for that white person, you die at your desk. You die at your desk. You grow old and you die at your desk, living paycheck to paycheck, just so you can make enough money to barely pay back student loans to the previous white person you were serving by going to their big university and overpaying for an education, right? So you are a white supremacist. You believe his ice is cold. You believe his ideas are better. You believe that riding with his team is the way you can have the best chance to win. So here's the thing. Here's what I want you to really understand is that you cannot on this planet or any other be a black liberator if you're also a white supremacist. You just can't. You know, if you're a white supremacist and you believe that his ice is colder, and you believe that his methods are better, and that riding with him is better than riding with yourself and riding with each other, and that his media is better than your media, that his cosign is better than getting cosigned by black people, then how in the hell are you going to even be able to take the first steps toward liberation? You can't. You can't. So here's my point on this thing with The View. When I saw Kim Klacik, this Republican, you know, again, I don't know anything about the lady. I'm not going to vote for her. When I saw her go on The View, and I saw them shutting her down and telling her she has no right to talk because she was speaking off script, what I heard in my little mind was, I don't know if my mind's little or big, I don't know. But what I heard in my mind is, shut up, nigga. You can't talk unless you say what the hell we want you to say. That is white supremacy. So when she's coming back and she's saying, you know, she's trying to say to them, like, look, just let me talk. Let me make my point. I'm like, let her make her damn point. If she was on my show, I swear to God, and Kim, if you watch this video and you decide you want to come on, I will promise you, just because we are B1, because being black matters more than everything else, I'm going to respect you as a black woman and let you say what the hell you got to say. I'm not going to decide that because I disagree with you and your politics that you have no right to speak. I'm not going to do that because the black agenda is more important to me than the liberal agenda. The black agenda is more important to me than the Republican agenda. So the black agenda being most important to me, being B1, put hashtag B1 in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. Hashtag B1 means you are black first. You are black before you are a liberal. You are black before you are a conservative. You are black before you are feminist. You are black before you're LGBT. You're black before you're a Trump supporter. You're black before you're a Biden supporter. So black first means that after we sit and we argue or we debate the minors, we go back to the majors. It's like if I debate, like I got our middle child is our smartest child. All of our kids are smart. All of our kids make straight A's. I'm gonna brag about that because we got to brag about when black kids do good in school because we brag too much. We love to brag when they learn how to bust a rap or learn how to twerk or learn how to play basketball. Well, I'm gonna brag because our kids make straight A's, but it's not a surprise. Their parents are college professors. You know, their dad is really smart. I'm the bonus dad. We're not stupid people, so it's not a surprise. But I'm gonna brag on that because I'm proud when black kids do well. But our middle child has something special. Our middle child debates me like a graduate student. Our middle child is the one who is a quick processor who figures things out. And I told Alicia, I said, when she gets to be in high school, we're going to have to really watch this girl and really combine forces because she's going to try to outsmart us and we're going to catch her every damn time, right? And our middle child, as smart as she is, we debate. And let me just tell you a little secret. She disagrees with a lot of things that I believe. We go back and forth like cats and dogs on a lot of issues. When I had that whole thing back and forth with Lizzo, she was like, what do you have a problem with Lizzo? What's wrong with Lizzo? Because, you know, with the teenagers, they don't know, right? They're just kids, right? They don't understand the, you know, programming and how they're shifting and screwing up the black culture by teaching every little girl to be a whore. But I got it. I listened. I heard what she had to say. And we arguing and debating over the Lizzo thing. I said, look, you ain't going to change my opinion too much now, but I'm going to hear what you got to say. And I listened to her. She listened to me out of respect. And then when we got done, we went back to being family, right? Because her being a member of my family will never be more important than us debating whether or not Lizzo's music is harmless or if we are working overtime to promote obesity, diabetes, and heart disease, the very things that are killing black people on a regular basis, right? So here's my point. I think that when you think about all of this, what you got to really do is learn how to look at the white supremacy that's under your nose. The reason you can't solve the equation is because you are solving the wrong problem. I mean, I'm really flabbergasted. I'm really surprised that they have the entire black community truly believing, or not the entire black community. Some of y'all have broken out of the matrix, but I hear black folks who really truly believe that the two greatest threats to black people right now are the KKK and the Proud Boys, white supremacist groups, and the coronavirus. Now, these two things are real. The KKK and white supremacists and the Proud Boys and all that, that's real. Coronavirus is real. But real, just because it's real doesn't mean that that's your number one threat. I'll give you an example. Coronavirus, we're 99.9% of us are going to survive coronavirus. That's just a fact. Don't argue with me. Just go argue with the facts. Don't argue with me because 99.9% of you are going to survive the coronavirus. Right now, 99.9% of you are going to be affected through unemployment and everything else from the reaction to the virus. From the response. The response is going to affect you, but the virus itself is not going to affect 99.9% of you. Right? It's just a fact. Right? The Proud Boys, again, I saw a video on the Proud Boys on my Instagram, which is The Real Boyce Watkins, and I played the video, and I said, let's really look at this group, and let's really look for the threat. Where is the threat that these people are going to come into the black community with AK-47s and murder 10,000 people tomorrow? Where is the threat? So here's what I saw when I saw the Proud Boys. I'm not saying that this is a wonderful group or these are great people. I'm not saying none of that. What I just want to do is try to figure out where the threat is. Can we agree on that? Give me a yes or no. If we can agree that our goal is to actually solve the problem and not just, believe that that's the number one problem just because somebody said it. Can we at least agree? Can you give me space to use a little bit of my PhD to help us figure out where the threat is? Because we know the threat's real. We know that something is destroying black people. We know something is ruining your community because your community ain't shit right now in certain areas. Your community is all fucked up in certain areas. We know this, right? We know that in the last 50 years, black people have not moved forward in the last 50 years in economics. We know that black people have not moved forward in the last 50 years in education. We know that black people have not moved forward in the last 50 years in home ownership. We know that black people have not moved forward in the last 50 years in urban violence. We know that black people have not moved forward in the last 50 years when it comes to building black-owned businesses and land ownership, right? So you know that there's a problem. You know that there's a threat. So again, in the interest of B1, in the interest of being black first, in the interest of solving problems, I'm saying let's figure out where the threat is. So they told me that the Proud Boys were the number one threat to black people, or one of the top threats, one of the things that's me scared. So I watched the video, and I put the video up because I believe in you guys seeing the evidence for yourself and coming to your own conclusion. The media doesn't do that. Media likes to tell you what to think because media has an agenda. So I watched these Proud Boys, and these guys, a bunch of white guys with beards and beer bellies, drinking a brew, got a gun strapped on their back. The American flag is up, hoisted high, and I'm looking, and so I'm like, okay, where's the part where they start talking about how they want to exterminate black people, right? Like I'm listening for that, and they're like, so do you want to kill, like you seem to want to hurt minorities and hurt black people and people of color. And they were like, no, we don't want to hurt anybody. We defend ourselves. I'm like, well, ain't nothing wrong with self-defense. Like, I want to defend myself too. Maybe I'm a proud boy. I don't know. I'm a proud Boyce. I don't know. You come up in here messing with my family, I'm gonna knock your block off, right? So, but that doesn't make me a threat unless you threaten me. If you harm me, then I will become a threat, right? And then I'm like, so what do they believe in? And they kept saying repeatedly in this video, they kept saying, we don't like Antifa. We don't like Antifa. I did not hear them say we don't like black people. They're always trying to drag black people into their shit. They're always trying to pull you into their fights. They're always trying to say, well, they don't like immigrants from Mexico. That means they're racist, which means they must hate black people too. I'm like, how the fuck? I'm not Mexican. I can't speak Spanish. I was in Mexico for 5 minutes on a layover from a flight. I don't know nothing about Mexico. No disrespect to Mexicans, but I'm not Mexican. So how does somebody saying that they don't want Mexicans coming across the border illegally, how does that translate into we want to murder all black people? Who makes that translation? I need to talk to that person because something is wrong here. So what I heard was that they don't like the far radical left. I heard a bunch of guys, a bunch of hillbilly white guys who maybe they do have some white pride. Maybe they have some white pride, right? I personally don't get offended by white pride because I don't want nobody getting offended by black pride. You know, I don't have, because believe me, as soon as they start taking away the right of the Proud Boys to say we have pride in ourselves, oh my God, God forbid, right? A pride in our heritage, whatever the fuck that means, right? As soon as they take that right away from the Proud Boys, they're going to come right after black people. They're going to come right after you. They're going to come right after, anytime you say black power, they're going to be like, well, that's just like saying white power. Well, you can't say that. Or when you say we have black pride, they're going to be like, no, that's just like saying white pride, and we believe in equality, right? You can't say that. You're banned. Your freedom of speech has been revoked, right? The minute you start saying we defend ourselves, we believe in self-defense, you start talking like Malcolm, well, you sound like the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys used to talk about self-defense. So we're going to take all your weapons away, and we're going to ban you. We're going to put you in jail, right? So the reason that I'm real hesitant to take away another person's freedom of speech is for a couple reasons. One, I'm not threatened by ideas that are different from my own. I'm just not. You know, some people are. It doesn't bother me. And maybe it's because I come from academia where you're constantly being bombarded with people who disagree with you. Even your friends will fight you all day long over a theory and then go to lunch with you afterward and be your buddy after. We don't take it personal. The second reason I'm hesitant to trample on somebody else's freedom of speech is because I know how these things work. The minute they take away their freedom of speech, oh, they're going to come right after you. The minute as soon as they go after the so-called white extremists, they're going to come after the black extremists. And I am a black extremist if there ever was one. A black man talking about unity and black power and black wealth and black freedom. That makes me pretty extreme, almost to the point where people probably think I'm threatening, and I am. When I'm going around telling black people like, well, you know, you can vote for whoever you want to. Oh, no, what's wrong with you telling black people that they can do what they want to do? Negroes can't do what they want to do. Negroes ain't supposed to make their own minds. Doc, what you're saying, Doc, is dangerous. All I said was do what the fuck you want to do. Well, we can't have that. That's dangerous talk. What's dangerous about me asking black people to think? Why to process that? Why is telling black people to think for themselves such a dangerous idea? Because they want to own black people, because they are engaged in a form of white supremacy that goes right under your nose. You don't even see it because you're too focused on the Proud Boys, right? I mean, you can't see it. Right? They're like, look over here, and they're robbing you over here. They got you looking over here, and they're fucking you in the ass over here, and you don't even see it. You don't even realize that they are manipulating you. These are weapons of mass distraction. But I'm seeing this. I'm analyzing this. I'm an analyst. I analyze things very deeply, probably too much. I'm an overthinker. I process every little thing. You say something to me, I'm going to analyze every word you said. I'm going to analyze how you said it. I'm going to analyze what the first word was versus the last word. I'm going to think about all the times you said it in the past to see if it's consistent. I'm going to compare it with my database of pre-existing information. And I'm going to tell you like this. If they're going after the so-called white extremists, you know the NFAC is going to get fucked up. You know they're going to go after them. Next thing you know, they're going to treat them like some sort of paramilitary group or some Al-Qaeda terrorists. And next thing you know, they'll be going in there, locking them all up in droves, right? Seriously. So I'm saying that, you know, when you talk about taking away somebody's freedom of speech, I'm not a fan of that because after they take theirs, they're going to take yours. Also, I pay attention to the difference between talk and action, right? Talk versus action. In fact, that's my criticism of Trump's platinum plan is the plan looks great. I like the plan. It's a great plan in theory, but it's all talk. You're talking about this platinum plan for black people, but you haven't done anything. You haven't signed an executive order. Ice Cube brought this up yesterday. When Ice Cube came through, it's a great interview, by the way. If you haven't watched it, go to drboycetv.com. He did a great job breaking it down. And one of the things we agreed on is that executive orders are necessary and legislation is necessary for your words to have meaning, because right now the platinum plan is a bunch of talk, and I'm gonna tell you Biden's plan is a bunch of bullshit. Biden's plan is like you're expecting this plate of delicious soul food delivered to your table, and you literally get a school lunch. Remember those shitty school lunches with the old pizza and the chocolate milk and the corn, the dry corn and whatever, right? And the Jell-O, like little prison meal. Like Joe Biden just fed you a prison meal and expects you to feast on that and to be happy. And part of the reason that they're happy to do that is because that's pretty much where you set the bar. That's pretty much where you set your expectations. So the thing about talk is, I always look at these groups and I say, how much of what they do is talking versus how much is action? Because when I think about threats, remember, our goal is to solve the problem and find the threat. So when I'm looking at threats to, to racial extermination, like, so for example, I heard a black person, I'm not kidding, I'm not making this up, a black person I know who watches MSNBC on repeat. So she pretty much repeats all the liberal talking points. She's a product of social engineering. She basically says, we got to get Trump out of office. He's going to put us in concentration camps. I kid you not, she really said that he's going to put us in concentration camps. I said, okay, all right, so let's process that for a moment. Let's really stop for a minute and think about that. Okay, so concentration camps, that's pretty bad. Shit, if he's going to do that, then by God, we must get him out of office immediately. We must warn all the other black people that he's going to maybe, I guess he didn't decide to move forward on his concentration camp plan his first 4 years, so maybe he's going to do it as soon as he gets reelected. Okay, I said, now let's think about this for a minute, though. In history, one of the biggest events that comes to mind when you think about concentration camps is you think about World War II, Nazi Germany, and the Nazis had an issue with the Jewish community, and they really did put them in concentration camps. They really did have a plan for genocidal extermination of Jewish people. They really did sit around with their best scientists and try to find industrial strength methodologies that would allow them to exterminate as many Jewish people as possible, right? This is a historical fact. There's unfortunately these disgusting pictures of dead bodies piled on top of each other. It's really, really sad to watch. Now, one of the things that's interesting to me is I said, okay, so you're saying that he wants to build these concentration camps, and you say that he wants to exterminate black people. I'm looking for the evidence of that. Can you show me evidence where where somebody's built a ton of concentration camps and thrown in tens of thousands of black people at one time to exterminate as many black people as possible? I said, because the best evidence I can find of the creation of concentration camps for mass extermination of black people is the American prison system. And I can go back to 1994 and check the Joe Biden crime bill, where there was a specific plan from the best scientists to build hundreds and hundreds of prisons, in concentration camps all throughout the United States, and a plan to put 100,000 police officers on the streets, right? We talk about defunding the police, well, you're kind of defunding Joe Biden if you do that, unfortunately. You just are. And their goal was to put as many people as possible into these camps. The people they were putting in these camps were not white people. They weren't going to the college campuses and collecting prison inmates. They were going to the hood, right? And many of these individuals are still in prison right now. Many of these individuals have been away from their families for 25, 30 years. It still exists, right? So if you're really looking for the threat, again, I'm talking about the threat meaning, not the one-off, not the person who's saying some shit that you don't like. Talk is cheap. Talk don't mean shit. Somebody can say, that's what I want y'all to really practice on. This is just a little tip for you guys. I've gotten really good at this because dealing with the internet, you got a lot of petty ass people on the internet. So you really, if you really want to focus on solving problems, you have to learn how to cut out the noise. The noise is just somebody sends you an angry tweet. I'm not going to go cry because somebody sent me an angry tweet. Fuck you and your tweet. Your tweet means nothing. Now, if somebody shows up on your doorstep with an AK-47 and kills your whole family, that's a threat. Like, that's real, right? Or somebody drops a nuclear warhead in your neighborhood, that's a threat, that's real. Somebody comes through with concentration camps with 100,000 race soldiers that they put on the streets, the way Biden did in 1994, that's a threat. Because many of you know black people who have actually gone to prison. How many of you, give me a yes or no in the chat. How many of you can name one family member or friend that you know in your life, including yourself, who has gone to one of the Joe Biden, Bill Clinton concentration camps, who've gone to prison? Raise your hand. Give me a yes or no in the chat. Let's do a shout out. I want to do a quick shout out right now, almost like a moment of silence for all of the victims of the race soldiers, the 100,000 race soldiers. Go read that bill. The bill specifically calls for 100,000 cops to go out into the streets and fill up the prisons as much as possible. How many of you have people in your family? Give me a yes or no in the chat if you have people in your family who have gone to prison. I'm raising both hands because I had an uncle that was like an older brother to me, RIP Donald Couch. Prison fucked his brain up so bad that he had a mental illness for the rest of his life, and he was homeless when he eventually got ran over in the street when he was half drunk and got dragged 70 feet and got paralyzed and had so much brain damage and spinal cord damage that they had to do brain surgery and then spinal cord surgery. He sat in a wheelchair for 3 years with no health insurance until one day he got an infection and died. That was my number one role model. That was the guy I looked up to growing up as a kid. So imagine being a little kid and the man you love the most, the man you look up to the most, gets yanked into prison and comes back so fucked up that he's not the person that he used to be. That was my experience with the Joe Biden concentration camps. So if you want to know if I take the shit personal, then motherfucker, I do. If you want to know if this really bothers me, yes, it does. This is not a talking point, God damn it. This is real life. So I need y'all to real quick do a shout out for all the people that you know who have been taken down by one of the Joe Biden, Bill Clinton concentration camps. Say their name. Say their name. Their name is just as valuable as Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery. Those people, RIP to all of them. But the names of the black folks that are struggling in prison, sometimes death is a blessing. When you run into the race soldiers and they put you in that system, sometimes death can be a blessing. Because at least when you die, you ain't got no more problems. You ain't got no more bill collectors. You ain't got nobody. You ain't got to deal with none of this shit no more. Sometimes death is a blessing. And sometimes life is a curse. Living 40 years in a prison where everybody forgets about you and forgets that you had a family, that you had a life, that you had dreams, you had hopes for yourself. Oh, you missed your whole youth. You couldn't even go on your first date. Some of these guys, because you were in prison at the age of 18 to the age of 70, because they got a 3 strikes law that says because you made a mistake at 18, you never get to come out ever, right? So I just kind of need us to like talk about what's real versus what's fake. Like what is action versus what is talk? What is tangible versus what is theoretical, right? This is tangible. Joe Biden, Bill Clinton concentration camps are tangible. That's real. I can go touch a prison. I've been to these penitentiaries before. That's real shit. That's a real plan of mass extermination of black people. And in case you're wondering, in the crazy Boyce Watkins world, from what I've seen, and I know a lot of famous rappers and stuff like that, I believe to the core of my soul that as part of their mass extermination plan, the number one method they used to market their concentration camps to black people was hip hop music. I believe to the core of my soul that in the early 90s, there was a deliberate effort to get the X-Clans off the radio, to get Public Enemy off the radio, to get Tribe Called Quest off the radio, and replace that with criminal music that would encourage a generation of young black men to think it was cool to commit criminal behavior so they could fill up their concentration camps. So to some extent, American prisons became like roach motels where you put the bait, you put the little trail of crumbs, a little piece of cheese from the mice, so they'll walk right into the trap. And so they're eating up the cheese. And next thing you know, you got thousands and thousands and thousands of black men signing up to go to prison, to the point where Tupac Shakur had to go out and do a goddamn public service announcement like, look, this ain't the place to be. This is not where you want to go. There's nothing cool about going to prison. Why would he have to do that? Why would this man have to work so hard to convince young black men that prison is not a wonderful place to be? It's because he was fighting against a counter message that had consistently told them through every radio station in America that prison was lit. That prison was wonderful. That prison was how you got your street cred. That's how you became a real man. Can you do me a favor, please, and hit the thumbs up button? If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up button, share and subscribe button. If you haven't done it yet, please do that. So let me just go in and finish a few talking points on this. Earlier, we were talking about Kim Klacik, this Republican who went on The View, who was basically told she can't speak because she's not fitting in with what they want to hear, right? And I argue to you that this is a form of white supremacy, because white supremacy basically says that black people can never drive the car You're only allowed to be a passenger. And if you are not a good passenger, they will put you out of the car, right? Black people are not allowed to drive the car, and black people sure as hell ain't allowed to own the car. That is what white supremacy looks like. So when she goes on The View with these people that claim to love black people, oh, we love black people, right? But she's saying something that's off script. Then it's like, oh, well, we got to, no, nigga, you can't talk. You can't talk. If you go watch that clip, the clip is on my Instagram, The Real Boyce Watkins, you will see that when Kim went on to The View and started making her points, they pretty much just shut her down and like she had no right to talk. Now here's the thing. What bothered me about that is, number one, I don't believe in disrespecting a black woman in that way. You can bring anybody in here. Like, for example, I had my little disagreement with the people that manage Cardi B, for example. You know, not Cardi herself, but I don't really like the idea that Apple Music is marketing prostitution to 7-year-olds. Maybe people think that's a cool thing. Maybe people think that's good. I don't want to keep I want my girls off the pole. I don't want my girls feeling like they got to sell their vaginas for a Gucci bag. I don't want that, right? But if Cardi B came in today, if Cardi B reached out and said, hey, Dr. Boyce, I'd like to have an interview with you so I can give you my point of view, I would have her in and I would listen to her. I would say, you know what? I don't agree with you, but I'm going to hear you out and I'm not going to interrupt you until you're done talking. And then I'm going to make my point, and then you're going to make your point, and then I'm going to make my point, and then after that, maybe we can even be friends. And you'll just say, there's Dr. Boyce. He up there talking that crazy shit. He don't, well, Dr. Boyce, I'm going to drop another WAP video, and I'll be like, girl, I don't like that stuff, right? Like, literally, it wouldn't have to be so serious that I felt that because this black woman disagrees with me, she has no right to talk. And you see the same thing, of course, on the right. I remember when my first national TV interview, it was my first national TV interview, was literally a trial by fire. My first national TV interview ever was actually on Fox News. Why did I agree to do that one? That was the first time I was on national TV. So imagine, I'd never done this before. I'd never spoken in front of millions of people before. At that time, I was a faculty member at Syracuse University. And of course, they're pissed off at me because they didn't like me doing all that black talk. And so I'm going on Fox News, and I just written my book, a book called "What If George Bush Were a Black Man?" So a lot of the issues that people are talking about with race and the black male and everything else, you go read that book, you'll see a lot of these things kind of broken down. I've been screaming this for forever. Finally, people are starting to pay attention. After Trayvon Martin, people started listening to some of those ideas, right? And so I'm on Fox News, and it was a big night. It was right after Hurricane Katrina. So everybody's emotionally hyped up. Hillary Clinton was on right before me, along with Donald Rumsfeld. And I remember when they said, okay, doctor, 30 seconds. And I remember my heart beating so fast, I thought I was going to die of a heart attack right then. I remember just like thinking, how am I going to think and how am I going to talk if my heart is beating so fast? I feel like it's about to pop out of my chest. Well, I did the interview and Sean Hannity was there. And I remember that I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be respectful. I was simply trying to make my point because I assumed they'd let me make my point and then I'd let them make their point and we go back and forth. It didn't go that way at all. It did not go that way at all. Every time I made a point, they started yelling and screaming and shutting me down and everything else. And because they were all, remember, I don't know if y'all remember this, but back during Katrina, the whole thing was, I'm pissed off because black people are dying in the street. They're up here talking about the looters. Well, looting is wrong. Looting is wrong. I'm like, these people are dying. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, are you serious? Like, you're talking about looters and these people are dying in the street? But at that time I was more naive. I thought that the world wanted truth. And I did not realize the world doesn't really want truth. The world wants their version of truth. A lot of people, you guys are in the minority. If you're even hearing what I'm saying, you're in the minority. Most people don't really want to solve a problem. They just want to win, right? And they don't care if the world burns down. They just want to make sure you blame the other guy. So when I see the whole overreaction to that virus, that 99.9% of us are going to survive, 99.9% of us are not going to die from, I see a situation where people are just fighting for political office. They're fighting for the White House. And they're like, we're going to burn down the whole fucking planet. We don't care if you can't pay your rent. We don't care if your kids can't read. We don't care if you are, depressed and suicidal. We're going to scare the living shit out of you and make you think that walking outside of your house is equal to death, because at the end of the day, even if America gets all fucked up, it's okay as long as you blame it on Trump, right? As long as you blame it on the other side, everything is okay. And I'm going to just tell you, everything is not okay. Everything is not okay. I know therapists, and somebody, give me a testimony if you've seen any of this, because I'm marrying a therapist. Do you know therapist offices are filled to the max with young people who are depressed and suicidal because they've lost their youth? They can't even go on a date, right? Do you know how many people? Domestic violence is up, alcoholism is up, drug abuse is up. All these terrible things are happening because they're overreacting. Why not prepare people to keep themselves safe? Look, wash your hands, wear a mask. You may even want to wear gloves and socially distance, but we're going to go try to get this thing back on track, because keeping you locked up in your house forever could have worse effects than this virus ever could. Seriously. I mean, I know some doctors that are out of work a little bit, that don't have a lot of work because we're so focused on the virus, we're ignoring everything else. I don't know any therapists that don't have an overload of clients. Most of the therapists I know have too many clients right now because people are really hurting right now. People are struggling right now, and nobody cares. They don't care about solving the problem. After the election's over, the whole conversation will shift. After the election's over, they're going to talk about something else. So moving on with this whole thing about the white supremacy underneath it all, here's the deal. Here's the point you got to keep in mind. When you're talking about trying to solve a problem, that means you got to figure out, well, where is the problem? What are the issues? What needs to be resolved? Here are the issues for Black people. Pay attention. Hashtag B1 in the chat if you get what I'm saying. Black first. That means that we're solving the problem. What are the problems? The problems are that in the last 50 years, you have not moved forward economically. Many of your cities are under Democratic rule, but in those cities, Black wealth has dropped. Education. Your kids are dumber than their parents were at the same age. Now, in the city of Baltimore, where Kim Classic actually ran for office, in the city of Baltimore, they tested 1/3 of the kids in these Democratic-run districts, and zero children were able to pass the basic math and reading exams. Zero children were able to pass in 1/3 of the entire school district. That is mass systematic extermination of young Black people. So if you're looking for the threat ain't coming from the Proud Boys and the KKK. The Proud Boys and the KKK can't get away with shit. They can't go up into Baltimore and destroy 30,000 kids or 100,000 kids. They can't go in and kill 100,000 Black people and get away with it. But the school system can destroy the futures of 100,000 kids, and y'all will look right past that because you're focused on the big shiny object that they're putting in front of you on CNN. Weapons of mass distraction. That is what that is what they use on you. That's like what magicians use. Magicians get stuff by you because they're very good at sleight of hand, getting you to look over here while they're doing something over there. So when I'm looking at the problem, so I say, okay, our kids are dumber educationally. We're falling behind economically. We are falling behind urban violence. We got children and young people being shot up. If I was to go in and ask, again, we're looking for the threat now. Pay attention. I want y'all to focus now. We're looking for the threat because we're looking to solve the problem. We're looking for the threat because we're looking to solve the problem. We're looking for the threat so that we can solve the problem. If you go into a Chicago public school and you do a survey and you say, okay, how many of you have an immediate relative who has been murdered by the KKK, the Proud Boys, or the police department? Raise your hand, right? So you go get a couple kids, right? Because we know we got dirty cops, especially in Chicago, right? No question about it, right? We know that stuff does happen, etc. But you're not gonna have 80% of the kids raise their hand. You're gonna get maybe 5% max, right? If you say specifically, do you have an immediate relative in your immediate family, mother, father, sister, brother, child, that has been killed by a cop, a KKK member, or a Proud Boy? A couple of people might raise their hand. Very few are going to raise their hand. I don't know of anybody that's been killed by the Proud Boys, but maybe they've done some dirt that I don't know about. I don't know, right? But what if I said this? What if I then said, how many of you have a friend, or a friend or immediate relative, mother, father, sister, brother, or even child, who has been murdered in the streets in urban violence, maybe by another black person? How many hands will go up then? How many hands will go up if I said, how many of you have a friend who didn't make it to their 18th birthday? How many of you have a parent that was murdered in the streets of Chicago? How many hands you think will go up then? I say the majority will go up, about 70, 80, 90%. Okay, so maybe 60%. I don't know. It would be a landslide, though. It wouldn't be close. It wouldn't be close. So going back to my point, we're looking for the threat so we can figure out the solution. It sounds to me that the threats are that we have an economic problem that hasn't gotten better. Why not put our energy into solving that particular problem? Well, I happen to have a PhD in finance. I can tell you in about 30 seconds what your biggest economic problem is. White people have sucked up all your wealth by training you to believe that you're supposed to go to white universities and give away all your family wealth so you can get a degree that will only train you to go out and go work for another white person, for which most of your human capital is being taken away by white people because you are a white supremacist. So at the end of the day, what has occurred is not only did they give you a lacking number of skills, they gave you the wrong skills. The better way to educate yourself might be, for example, to consider possibly skipping college altogether and going to a training camp where you spend all your time learning how to buy real estate, start businesses, and own assets so that you can then actually accumulate wealth and minimize debt, which would therefore improve your net worth. Plus the fact that you have entrepreneurial training ability, that would also mean that you have the skill to increase and accelerate your income at your own discretion, which is the ultimate form of economic freedom. It's the ultimate form of freedom. Your ancestors did not die for you to go vote for Joe Biden, no matter how many times he tries to tell you that. Your ancestors died for you to be free. So if you're talking about freedom, let's fucking talk about what the fuck freedom looks like so we can know how to go find it. Stop letting oppressors tell you what freedom looks like. That is stupid. That's going to make you fall behind every damn time. So what I'm saying to you is that part of the reason that you see me yelling, like a lot of y'all come here, you're like, man, why is this guy yelling all the time? I'm yelling because some of y'all need to get the damn memo. Some of y'all don't understand why your problems aren't being solved because you're spending most of your time majoring in the minors. All this stuff I see, 90% of what I see on TV news when they have political commentary is nothing but entertainment. It is what we used to call in academia. We call this mental masturbation. Mental masturbation. That's literally the term that we used to use, where you're sitting there thinking about something, getting riled up about something, getting all caught up in something, but it is not even real. It's not even, it has no tangible implications, no real life results, no impact. Like you ain't going, like masturbating, I'm sure it might be fun, but you will never have a child through masturbation. It doesn't work that way. Right? You'll never form a healthy relationship through masturbation with anybody other than yourself, right? So the same thing is true when you talk about what they're feeding you on TV. They're feeding you things that deliberately trigger you so that you will align yourself with whatever agenda they need you on board with. So we need black people to come out and get us into power. So what do? Trump is kind of trying to kill all of y'all. Trump, he gonna open concentration camps. Trump, though, he wants to build a wall with Mexico. That means he hates black people, right? Oh, look at these Proud Boys. They got beer cans and American flags and shotguns. That means they want to murder black people. Well, show me tens of thousands of black people that were murdered by the Proud Boys, and then I'll look at them as a threat. Because most of the black people I know that have been killed, they were killed in different situations. They were killed by some stupid, crazy person in the hood. They weren't shot up by the Proud Boys. I'm not saying these guys are good guys. I don't know anything about it. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a distraction. It is a distraction. And a lot of times when you ask people, like, what is white supremacy? Like, what does that look like? And they'll point to all the things that don't even affect your life. I'm not saying the KKK, for example, are good people. They just don't scare me. They just don't. They just really don't. If I saw a bunch of guys walking down the street with white hoods on, I would kind of laugh it off. I'd be like, look at that. These poor, pathetic little white men who are mad because they don't have power anymore. Because believe me, if they come up in here and they hurt one person, all of them are going to jail. And all of them are going to get fucked up. Right? So there's nothing about them that scares me because they don't have the ability to do anything that is going to have an effect on hundreds of thousands of black people. If you want to look for the real KKK, if you want to look for real white supremacy, I want you to practice looking for systematic factors. You see, in investing, this is an investing concept, actually, believe it or not. When we talk about stocks, when I'm teaching my students, at Syracuse, when I would teach them about how the stock market works, I say, look, stocks and companies and their valuations are impacted by two types of factors, two types of risks, two types of threats: idiosyncratic threats and systematic threats. Idiosyncratic is a one-off. Idiosyncratic means it affects that one company or that one situation and it doesn't affect anything else. And the systematic is something that's bigger, it's broader, it's the entire system. Like racism, we analyze it in all the wrong ways. We see racism in an idiosyncratic way. Oh, I went to the grocery store and this white lady said that she don't like black people. That was racist, y'all. Well, okay, so all right, so does the white lady pay your rent? No, but that ain't right. Okay, does the white lady, like, where in your life is it gonna affect your ability to raise your kids? Well, no, but okay, so does this white lady, does she have any sort of extraordinary power or influence over you, your life, or your ability to ever do anything meaningful in your life? Like, is she the grand poobah of the earth where she can keep you from ever getting a job again? Like, what power does this white woman have on a systematic level that's going to really disrupt you in a significant way? Well, no, but okay, so what you're basically saying is that shit hurt your feelings because you're a white supremacist. It bothered you because internally, deep down, you need white people to like you. You need them to like you so you can learn to like yourself. Because if you really liked yourself, then you wouldn't give a shit if that white lady liked you or not. If you really respected yourself, you wouldn't even waste the energy responding to this white lady. But you over here telling me that you're about to kick this lady's ass and go to jail in front of your kids because she called you a nigga. Okay, that means that before we talk about what white people need to fix in their white supremacy, because we know white people can be terrible people sometimes, we need to fix you. We need to fix you because people I know, black people that got shit to do, black people that got stuff going on, black people that have like dignity, black people that have, like goals in life, like black people that feel good about themselves, they don't tend to react anytime a stupid, toothless redneck decides to make a stupid statement to them in the grocery store. They just laugh it off, or they say, fuck you too, or they walk away, right? Really, like a white person that walks up to me is like, Dr. Boyce, I don't like what you had to say, and I think that black people are terrible people. I'll be like, really? So tell me what else makes you think? Why do you feel that way? What's really going on? I might laugh. It would literally not even disrupt my day. I would probably forget. I would laugh. I would come home and tell Alicia, yeah, this white guy came up to me and said, blah, blah. I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to? Like, whatever. Right? Because I'm Boyce Watkins, and you ain't gonna change that. You can't change the fact that I am who I am, and I've done what I'm done, and I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. That you have no role, no systematic impact on my life at all. So why do I care what you think? Why does that matter? But then again, maybe I'm good at this because I know how to ignore 100,000 people on the internet that all have little shit to say. An angry tweet. Now, idiosyncratic, that's one type of so-called racism that you might see that tends to trigger people the most. That's what they tend to talk about. In the news, they talk about idiosyncratic effects. News is built on stories. Stories are idiosyncratic. Stories are one-offs, one time, etc. Now, what they do in the news, though, is they'll take something that's a one-off and they'll make it bigger. They make it systematic. They take the idiosyncratic and they make it systematic by broadcasting it to the entire world so they can scare the living shit out of you. So systematic effects are things that are broad, things that really do have an impact, things that are almost at an industrial scale in terms of the magnitude of the impact that they have on society. So examples of systematic effects. Well, if you look up, for example, the 1994 Joe Biden Bill Clinton crime bill, that crime bill wasn't an idiosyncratic thing. It wasn't a bill that says we're going to find the most notorious drug dealer in Chicago and make sure he gets taken down. No, that bill was built to ensure that hundreds of thousands of people, mostly fathers and husbands, are going to go to prison for life, right? So the effect of this bill was systematic. That's real. That's systematic racism, right? It's like when we had a fly problem in the garage and we kept seeing flies over and over and over again. I would swat individual flies that would come down into the basement, right? I had this electric fly zapper that I love to use, and I would zap these flies one by one. That was idiosyncratic because I would kill one fly at a time. But then there was a point where I said, I need a systematic solution. So I went down and I found an exterminator. I said, I need you to do something to that garage that's going to kill thousands of these damn flies. It's going to blow up the nest. It's going to kill everything in there other than the human being needs to go down because we need to have a systematic solution. So the Joe Biden crime bill was systematic. That is your systematic threat. That is your white supremacy. That's your systematic racism. That's not the only example. What are other examples of systematic effects that have created the many problems that you have as a community? Media. After Farrakhan gathered 1 million black men in DC in 1995 for the Million Man March, Bill Clinton signed a bill that basically allowed companies like Clear Channel to go buy as many radio stations as possible in a broad, systematic fashion. This, again, like the Biden crime bill, cost billions of dollars to implement, and they went out and they bought every radio station they possibly could. So that millions and millions of black people on a systematic level are going to hear the same messages from the same rappers all throughout the United States. So that led to a systematic impact and a systematic deterioration of your culture, where you went from wanting to be more educated to wanting to be ignorant. You went from wanting to build wealth to wanting to throw all your money away through excessive consumerism of white-owned products. You went from wanting to build family to believing that all women are bitches and hoes. Yeah, you went from wanting to love each other to wanting to hate each other. You went from wanting to give each other life to wanting to promote genocide, right? That was systematic extermination of the black mind. If you control the mind of the oppressed, then you don't really have to do much oppressing. So a lot of energy that is put into the oppression of black people really is a systematic version of psychological warfare. The psychological warfare, it comes through media. So when you hear every radio station playing the same bullshit song about Lil Wayne wanting to make your daughter into a hooker and shoot her in the head and put her dead body in the back of the trunk, and you think that that's normal, you normalize that shit. Well, then guess what? You are a victim. You have been hit by systematic racism. This is systematic psychological poisoning. When Hollywood is convincing you that every little 5-year-old really wants to be a girl, every little 5-year-old boy really wants to be a girl, and they're mass marketing this in movies that are seen by millions of people, that, my friends, is systematic racism, as opposed to idiosyncratic, which would be the lady who says that she don't like black people when you meet her in the grocery store, right? What are some other effects? Some systematic racism effects. Let's go to the systematic here. If you talk about the educational system, when you look at the fact that most of us have been put into these multi-billion-dollar systems. See, the white man thinks on an industrial scale. Y'all get caught up in the one-offs. Like even the way Black leadership is done, it's not done at an industrial scale. It's not done in a systematic way. It's not done in a way where you have systems and institutions that will survive long after that person is dead. Your Black leadership historically has been built on you sitting back and worshiping one guy like he's fucking Jesus and shit. Like one guy like, oh, Martin Luther King, oh Lord, Martin Luther King, they don't kill that king, right? Or Malcolm X, love Malcolm X. I love this man. Don't get me wrong, but Malcolm X was one man, right? Whoever it is. and this method of leadership is incredibly flawed because it's very easy to take out an idiosyncratic effect. The same way I'm teaching you how to analyze threats, they've always seen you as a threat. The same way I'm teaching you to do basic analysis on what they're doing to you, they've always analyzed what you have been doing to them, but they don't just live in the third dimension. They live in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. They don't analyze what you're doing. They analyze what you did, what you're gonna do, what you might have done, what you might do. Like they done thought through every single angle of the battle strategy. And so when you're talking about Black leadership, one of the things I'm imploring you to do is get away from this fucking hero worship. You saw it with Obama. I saw a lady in a church one time where I spoke in the church, and I sat here and Obama had just got inaugurated, and the people in the church changed the words of "we shall overcome" to "we have overcome." I kid you not. We were sitting there fucking singing "we have overcome." And I said, I'll be goddamn. What, man, I don't know what to do with this. There's nothing, I have more of a warrior spirit, and there's nothing that a warrior spirit can do with a bunch of Negroes who feel like it's okay to sing "we have overcome." I didn't know what to do with that. I just didn't. But then again, maybe I'm a little too masculine in my approach, and I apologize for that. But I just sat here and said, this is really irritating me right now. And then a nice little old lady came up and she had a real pretty picture of Barack Obama. I said, that's a very nice picture, man. Where'd you get that picture? She said, oh, I got it over there. She said, I'm gonna put it right next to my pictures of Martin Luther King and Jesus. So basically she's worshiping this guy. Like that's her new Jesus, right? And so I'm gonna just tell you, that's idiosyncratic. And as I told you, I studied under a guy named Renee Stoltz, who's one of the leading experts on earth. I'm not kidding. Look about Rene, Renee Stoltz, one of the leading experts on earth on risk management, understanding risk, understanding threats. And one of the things that we talk about extensively is the difference between an idiosyncratic threat and a systematic threat. Idiosyncratic threats are easy to eliminate. Idiosyncratic threats are easy to solve. They're easy to get rid of. They're almost fucking irrelevant. Systematic threats, now that's an issue. That's an issue. So the reason that your Black leadership does not succeed, the reason that every slave revolt since 1552 has failed, the reason that or 1619, sorry, that's when we arrived, right? The reason that your leadership has not withstood the test of time is because your leadership is built on an idiosyncratic sort of way. You have every couple of years, some Negro comes out and says, I'm the greatest Black man of all time. And he's got a little swag and he can speak. He's quick with the tongue. He knows how to say stuff in a way to get you feel like you preaching, amen, I love it, right? And you get so caught up in your love for that one person that you don't understand what the long-term goal is. So if I am looking at Black leadership as a threat, then, and I'm thinking like J. Edgar Hoover, who said that the biggest threat is the emergence of the Black Messiah, and you build that threat up in a way where it's idiosyncratic and not systematic, then all I've got to do is go kill one Negro. If I kill him, oh, I get it. Okay, so you want to walk around in jewels and fur coats and got your entourage because you think you the man now. Because you up here, some of y'all damn Black leaders run around here acting like rappers. Seriously, like no humility and service and understand the magnitude of leadership, but run around here literally bragging like rappers, like I get all the women, everybody want to be around me. Look at how much bread I got, right? Like, and so basically they're like, okay, so that's the one we need to take out. So we either kill him physically, like they did Dr. King. They did murder Dr. King, by the way. There's an extensive amount of research that was done on this. They planned his murder over a 2-year period. It was very systematic how they planned his death. I believe they played a role in the murder of Malcolm X. I wouldn't be surprised they played some role in the downfall of Muhammad Ali. And I know that if they don't physically kill him, all they have to do is discredit him. If you discredit him, then the whole movement dies, because the whole movement is built on a religious type of energy where people have decided that they want to worship this guy like he's a fucking messiah. And instead, a better way to pose a threat to white supremacy would be to attack a system with a system, right? Go with, they're doing things on a systematic scale. You have to be systematic. So for example, when I talk to Ice Cube and we're talking about ways to really elevate the Black community in a meaningful way, my first thought is, how do we take me and you out of the equation? How do we create a movement that can't be killed? I said, okay, I get it now. Okay, you know what, man? You got 15 million people that follow you on Instagram. I got a few 100,000, but I'm not Ice Cube. But I was like, why don't we do something where we can encourage millions of Black boys to embrace entrepreneurship as much as they embrace football and basketball? Imagine visualize this. Imagine if Black boys were as excited about starting their first business as they were about making the football team. Imagine if they put all that hustle that we put into sports into running businesses and making deals and raising capital. And then imagine if their parents backed them up by giving them economic oriented training at an early age, almost to the point of a religion. Like this is what we do in this family. In this family, we are owners, we are bosses, we are investors, we have assets, we save, we produce, right? Imagine if we did that and got it at an epic scale where that just became the thing to do for Black people. Like Blackness becomes synonymous with wealth and ownership and asset accumulation on every single level from the time you are born, cradle to the grave. You come into the earth, somebody gives you an asset, then they teach you to accumulate and they teach you to keep building and keep hustling. We applaud that. That's what we do. That's what we love. I said, that would be a movement that nobody could stop. That would be a movement that will be far bigger than any reparations check that white people will ever write. No white man will ever write a reparations check big enough to change the power of systematic shifts in the Black human spirit. Nobody. So what I really want to say to you guys is that if you want to know what I'm doing, everybody has an agenda. I'm just going to tell you, everybody has an agenda. I've got an agenda. Oh my God, do I have an agenda? Everybody has an agenda. My agenda is that I really believe deeply that Black people who get it right are going to be the best in the world. My agenda is that if we really do what's right by our kids and we educate our own children, create our own jobs, and support our own businesses, we will be able to fly to a level that most white people can only dream of. Getting 40 million Black people to have an average wealth level that exceeds the average white person is damn near impossible. I ain't Superman. I can't lift a building on a single bound. I don't know how I'm going to do that, right? But it's not hard at all. It's very easy for me to take one person and to go talk to that one person and go to Larry Pitt and say, okay, Larry, you got 2 kids. I'm going to show you how your 2 kids will have an average wealth level that will be double the average white American by the time they are 30 years old. Just do what I say, Larry, and this is how it's going to work. So when I talk to Larry, I'm talking to all of y'all. That, like, the blueprint for power is out there. But one of the things we have to do, one of the things I'm fighting against, and that's where all the yelling comes from, because I feel like I'm fighting something. I ain't gonna lie. I go to sleep and I dream about this. I have fights in my dreams. That's how my brain resolves all of this. I'm fighting against a lot of distractions out here. I'm out yelling a lot of noise. I'm fighting against a lot of people who have an agenda that I don't think is going to be good for you. They really want you to keep doing exactly what you're doing. Like I'm not telling you to vote or not to vote. I don't really care what you do. But I'm sitting here thinking, wait, so I go talk to you and I say, well, the Black community has a lot of problems. I mean, look at our economic situation. our educational situation, our businesses aren't funded, we have all this urban violence, and then the only thing you can tell me to do is go vote for Joe Biden? I'm like, that's all you got? Like, you talk about voting like black people have never voted before. Like, have black people, is this the first time black people have ever voted in an election? Now you act like that new, is this as revolutionary as you can get? Like, this is really your innovative solution to simply repeat what you've been doing for the last 50 elections? Are you serious right now? That's why you're losing, because you're taking on the same problems with the same solutions. That's simple math. That's 1 + 1 is 2. That's not complicated to understand. So if you want a different solution, you got to do something different. So what I'm trying to do is to convince you to at least consider something different. Some people just get mad at me and they walk away. I understand that. I'm only talking to the people who stick around and say, okay, this guy's a little crazy. He yells a lot and he's spitting because he got this dental work thing going on. But I'm going to hear what he got to say to decide if that's going to actually help me achieve my goal. And if I can get you to at least hear me out, then I've done my job. Because one day I'm going to die and get old and get tired, and I'm going to have to pass it on. And part of the reason that I want systems in place is so that when I'm done, when I'm gone, this movement, this train will continue to move 200, 300 years after I am dead. You know, some of your damn black leaders believe they're going to live forever. They really do. They really think they get to beat a man forever. They want to keep that power forever. And they really think they ain't going to die. Well, I know I was born kind of knowing that I'm going to die. You know, I live every day knowing I'm going to die. Like, this is temporary. I'm only here. How much impact can I have before it's over for me? And I pass it on to 10 million young people who can say, I grew up on Boyce Watkins because my mama and my daddy used to listen to him every day. And then they going to run with it and take it to a level that I can't even go. And it ain't just me. There's millions of you out here doing it, and your work is more important than mine. And I really encourage you to move away from idiosyncratic hero worship, black leadership, and move to something more systematic, something that is more sustainable, something that reflects a shift in culture, broad shifts in the ideology of millions of people, because they can kill one black person, but they can't take out millions of you to specific ideas. Are we on the same page? Do you get me? Does this make sense? I have talked for 80 minutes. I did not plan to talk that long. I appreciate you for hearing me out. If you could you please hit the thumbs up button? Please subscribe, and also please share this video. I need you. You guys are my distribution network. So if you can give me a verbal commitment, a yes in the chat, that you'll take this link and share this link on your social media. So I want you to just post on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram. Please let other people see this, because I believe that we've got a shot to do something different, something special in this generation. I believe Black history is being made in this generation. My 17-year-old came in and I had him meet, I had him talk to Cube. Cube is a cool guy. And I said, hey, I want you to come here and participate in this, because I believe that we might be making Black history right now with what we're doing. And so this is our moment. Let's make it happen. Let's make it work, man. I'm really excited right now, because I see things that I've never seen before, things I thought I'd never see. And I believe from this point, it can only get better. So thank you for listening, guys. It was real. A couple points I want to share with you. One, if you're interested in the Powernomics Masterclass with Dr. Claude Anderson, feel free to go to powernomicsmasterclass.com. That's powernomicsmasterclass.com. Also, Uncle Boyce has a program in the Black Business School. I'm not Uncle Boyce, I'm Dr. Boyce. Uncle Boyce is the guy who comes in every now and then, who likes to talk about a lot of stuff that's non-financial and share advice and information on setting goals, overcoming obstacles, dealing with adversity, stuff like that. So Uncle Boyce has a program called Black Keys to Greatness. And for this month, it's totally free. You can join for free. You have a lifetime membership for free. And it's really designed, it's like a life class, basically. So if you're interested, feel free to go to blackkeystogreatness.com. That's blackkeystogreatness.com. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. Thank you for listening, and I will see you soon. Take care. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV.